Do you know how many people told me I had no idea what I was doing? You know, because I've had a lot of investors want to come and invest and, you know, they want governance and et cetera. And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? I'm like, because my two investors, all of the advice that they gave me was bad advice. And if they had control over my decisions, we would have gone in the other way. So no, I listen to myself because I'm going to tell you something before we leave. And this is something that everybody needs to know. Men tend to get better looking as they get older. Women get smarter, period. And we're not given credit for it, but we get smarter. I was not this smart when I was 20. I was also not this smart when I was 32. And I realized that that's the secret sauce right there. That's the secret sauce. Because if we get smarter, we can do a lot. We could solve problems on a massive level.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to a Fashion Moment podcast. Whether you're a fashion lover or just fashion curious, welcome. I literally love bringing you one-on-one interviews week after week with your fashion favorites. I get inspired every time, and I hope you do too. This podcast is not sponsored, and all of us here are freely giving our time because we all believe in this and we love it. I would love to continue this great work and bring you even more content, exclusive features, and live events in the years ahead. If you love the podcast or just want to support, buy me a coffee. Yes, a coffee. You can visit buymeacoffee.com/a-fashion-moment to become a fashion friend for one coffee a month, $5, or click the support tab to grab any amount you'd like. Again, that's buymeacoffee.com/a-fashion-moment. Thank you for supporting us. Now on to the show. Sahara Lotti is an American entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of Lashify, a luxury beauty company that holds over 70 patents and 50 trademarks worldwide. Sahara is known for inventing the Lashify system, the revolutionary Gossamer lash, and the fuse control wand. The technology allows for the lash to be placed on the underside of the upper lash, creating a seamless look without damage. I'm obsessed, and this is not an ad. The award-winning lashes have been featured on several celebrities' red carpets and even on the small and big screens. Lashify is everywhere, but I can personally attest that Lashify is more than just a brand. When I was in the throes of postpartum depression and even in the middle of my divorce, just feeling consumed by sadness and, crying in the dark in the wee hours of the night, Sahara's Lashify IG Live would randomly pop up in my feed just in time to lift my spirit and encourage my soul. She always had an amazing playlist with an awesome lash tutorial infused with raw and honest personal stories and life lessons. The moment I put on her lashes, I could finally begin to see glimmers of the fabulous me that had been hiding for several years. Lashify, Sahara, and the Lashify community brought me back to life. It's truly amazing what a lash can do. I sat down with the one and only Sahara Lotti to discuss her journey as an entrepreneur, the wonder of Lashify, and her go-to fashion favorites, of course. Enjoy. Can I just say I am living for this situation that you've been rocking lately, this braid?
You know why? Because literally now taking it back to Kim was the one that always hooked up my hair girls. Okay. And so I've been having a problem. So the last person we used the same girl, and that was not working out for me anymore. And so what's really interesting is that Raven, who was taking care of Kim's girls, and she's been taking care of Kim's girls just until this last year, came over here, and I was like, and she's like, and I was like, oh, my hair, and she's like, I got the person for you. And so this girl Dominique comes over and she's like, oh my God, and I was like, and she's so good and her energy's so great. And I looked at my friend Justin, I was like, that's from Kim. That was from Kim, because that's who took care of my hair.
It's so dope. I was like, what? I am living for the braid. It's so now.
Because, I have naturally really black curly hair.
What? Well, I knew it was black, but I didn't know it was like curly.
Curly.
Wow.
Not like super tight curl, but ringlet.
Like the ringlet.
Yeah. So for me, like as a kid, it was like my aunt would come over and like blow dry our hair straight.
Wow.
Like hair's been a whole thing. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I didn't like, I actually didn't understand how much I had in common with my black girlfriends until we started talking about hair. I was like, hair.
Yeah.
Because hair's a thing.
Yeah. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
And like I have 2 toddler boys and they're half Afghan. And so like they have 2 different textures happening. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't know.
See, I got that Afghan hair. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for just doing this interview.
Absolutely.
I am such a fan. I live for your IGs. I live for Lashify. I love the passion that you exude every single day. We know you love the product. And I can't wait to share with all of our listeners your journey, but also the amazing product that you're currently using to transform and empower women, men and women, anybody. Okay. And everybody in between. So thank you so much for coming onto a fashion moment.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, I love to start at the very, very beginning.
Okay.
What was life like in the San Francisco Bay Area? Like, where exactly were you? Like, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Northern California in a town called Atherton, which is right outside of Palo Alto, Menlo Park. It's NorCal. So Atherton was the town that I think in the early 1900s, the people that lived in San Francisco had like their summer homes in Atherton. So it's like the Hamptons of New York City. And it was a very, my background is Iranian. So I was born in Tehran. And then when the revolution was happening, we lived in England, and my dad, I guess, called his friend and was like, where's the best place in Northern California to move? And his friend was like, Atherton. And so literally my dad went, my mom and dad went, they bought a house in Atherton. Next thing you know, we're like in Atherton. And I'm like, wow, and everybody was blonde. And, there was one Persian family, and that was us. There was one black family, that was Jerry Rice from the 49ers. And then there was and then there was one Jewish family, and that was the Chase. Yeah.
Wild. You mentioned your father a lot in your lives.
Yeah.
Just about some of the lessons that he's taught you, both personal and professional. Are there a few that really stick out in your mind and some that have been very impactful in your life?
Definitely. My dad is a businessman, like through and through. And he supported himself. He paid for his college and his education playing cards. Wow. So he when he was a kid, I guess, they didn't have a lot of money, and his mom had like some apartment or something. And my dad would have to ride like 100 miles on his bike to get like $20. Wow. And so one day on his way home, these guys were like, hey, we're playing cards. Like, why don't you bet? And so my dad bet it, and he lost it. And so then he had to go home, and his mom's like, where's the rent? And he's like, oh, they didn't give it to me. And so I guess this went on for a few months. And then when his mom found out, she like whipped his ass. And then he was like, I'm going to learn how to play cards. So what's funny is that's how he taught himself. And, he's an engineer, but, I didn't go to school for business. Like, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be like, and I just knew I had to do something that was out there. But all my dad ever talked about was business. So he was a mathematician. So like, let's say we'd go like to a restaurant. He would like look at this and be like, how much you think this cost to make? How much? Look at how much they're selling it for. Look at look at how much do you think this cost? So everything was like, look at how much does that cost? Look how much we can sell it for. And so it was always about business. And so, I always would, I can't explain it. It was like constantly money, business, talk, business, deal, this, that, how much is that? What's that worth? Oh, that's not worth it. And so what I realized is that you learn what you hear, right? You learn what you hear. So if you're growing up and there's a lot of struggle, that's what you learn. You learn struggle. You learn, man, money's hard. Oh, so hard. Oh, get what you can. No. And so what I realized is that many of my friends didn't necessarily have, they were hearing something different. And so I was like, if you, it comes from your aunt, you learn this information from the parents, from the grandparents, from the whatever. That's what keeps the mantra going. So what is the mantra? What is the mantra that we're hearing? So his was always, we got to do this, we could do that, da, 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 da. And then there were certain mantras that I didn't like that they were trying to teach me. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't like that mantra. You know what I mean? Like, and so whether it was like, you need to get married, like they didn't, my mom tried to throw that on me a little bit. I was like, we need to stop with that, So he was very, as far as people are like, how do you know how to do this? And I'm like, because I had a dad that was like, he went back to where he went and he did what he needed to do. You know what I mean? It's wheeling and dealing and so on. And so, starting Lashify, people don't really know it, but it's like I've been in the mafia. Like I'm literally in the mafia. I'm like a lash mafia.
It's true. We're Lashifines out here. And I'm really curious, the mantra, like, I feel like that's so powerful for people who may have been sort of tapping into the wrong mantra. What would your advice be to them to snap out of that and create a new narrative? Because I'm sure as an entrepreneur, even though you grew up with these mantras, I'm sure there are times when you're in the trenches and you were just like, good God, is this mantra true?
Well, I mean, listen, listen, I'm going to tell you, there was mantras, any businessman is also somewhat narcissistic in his own way.
Yeah.
So I had to, like, you're amazing because you're my daughter. You're not amazing because, and I was like, no, I'm good no matter what. I'm good no matter what, And so I think the biggest thing is if you see something happening in your life repetitively, blame yourself and fix it. Okay. If you see something happen, if you're like, damn, I keep getting in bad luck. I keep dating men that just, man, what's up? Look in yourself, find what's in you that is bringing this in, take the responsibility, because the only person you can change is you. So if you're focused on like, man, he was mean to me on that one, no, you'll never change them, but you can change yourself. So you stop accepting that and you don't want that anymore. You know what I mean? One of the number one problems that I see with people is that they have the mantra of, I better get what I can. I better get what I can. I better get what I can. So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Someone comes to do my hair, right? Maybe she looks around, she's like, damn. I'm like, cool. We do it great. We all know how much a braid costs. Okay.
Yes.
So if you're like, well, I'm going to charge you $800, I'll be like, thank you so much. And I'll pay you, but I'm never going to bring you back again.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to play the smart, you want to play the long game. You want to play that girl looks like she's going to be a good client. I'm not going to come from the area from the place of, I better get what I can. I'm going to, I want to come from the places. I want a long-term relationship here.
I love that. And you can definitely see that through your customer service, because Sahara is going to be popping up like undercover
you see what
boss
right?
on these
But
phones.
Listen, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes we come in, there's somebody that comes in they spend $150. Okay.
Yeah.
But no, let's say they spend $200. So they buy everything. Okay. So they buy this, they buy that, and then they come in, they're like, you know what? This thing is broken. And the customer service looks at it and they're like, that ain't broken. And I'm like, that ain't broken. And then you go, we can either say, you know what? Sorry. Or we can say, let's make an investment in this person. Okay.
Wow.
We're so sorry. We're sorry. We're going to replace that for you. Right. And guess what? We played the long game, and that person keeps coming back. Because a lot of times people just want to know if you're going to take care of them, if you're fair, if you're there. Do you know what I mean? And so it's really sometimes about, you know, in the beginning, when I first started Lashify, 5 people bought the kit. And I never sold the kit before. And I got so nervous, I refunded all of them. And I said, hi, I refunded you, but I'm sending you this anyway. I would like you to give me reviews. Because I didn't, what if they didn't like it? Like I wanted to, before I went, you see what I'm saying? So you always want to play the long game with people. You don't just want one hit, right? And I see that happening a lot. I see that happening with some employees that come in, they'll come in and be like, yeah, Sahara, I can do this for you. I can do that for you. I can do this. I'm like, cool. How much you want? They're like, I want this. And you're like, I'm like, sure, okay. And then I like think about it for a minute and I'm like, well, if you can do all the things that you say you can do, then okay. And then I bring them in and I'm watching them, right? Yeah. And I'm watching them like a hawk. And I could tell you 10 out of 10 times they don't make it. Right? Wow. Because they came in and they promised the moon and they charged me the moon too. And then you see what I'm saying? So I see that a lot. You know, so it's like come in easy. And then we have people that come in that are way overqualified for their jobs. Right? Of course. and they're like, sure, yeah, I'll come in. And they take a pay cut. And then in 5 months, I realize they're brilliant. And it's like, okay, let's go. Does that make sense? So yes, I'm also looking for that because like nobody wants to be hustled and I don't want to hustle anybody. So a lot of the being an entrepreneur is finding your people, finding who you can trust, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let me step back because you were giving so many great nuggets about business, but there was a road to getting here. So you were acting and I was digging. I was like, let me find Sahara's old like films. And it was like, oh my God, you had the curly hair. And you're good.
I'm a good actress, man.
You are a good. I was like, oh my God, like she is killing it. So like, what was like, how did you end up, you know, acting and then getting into Lashify? Like
so basically it all started like this. I went to school in San Diego for a year. I hated it. And then I said to my dad, if you let me be a theater major, I'll get straight A's. And he was like, okay. So I got into USC. I was a theater major and a cinema minor. I killed it. I was in acting class at the same time. And the acting game is very like, you know, I was a good actress, but I did Groundlings for a little while. And I realized that I was funnier when I just played myself than if I played a character. So then in acting class, we needed to do scenes. And so I had written a play at USC. So I started using the scenes from my play and people were like, where'd you get this? And I was like, oh, Samuel French bookstore. And so then people would go to the bookstore and they couldn't find it. And I was like, okay, fine, I wrote it. And so then a manager was in the group and was like, you know, I manage writers and, you know, you're a really good writer and like come in for a meeting. So I went in and then the head manager was like, hey, take this. Can you do something with this script that someone wrote a few years ago? So I rewrote it for 2 weeks. And then we ended up selling it to Universal for like $500,000 or something. And I was like, whoa, I'm like, I'm gonna be a writer. I'm gonna be a writer now. And so, you know, once I started making money, and what I liked about writing is there was more power to it. Like as an actress, like they wouldn't even say hi to you at an audition. There was very little respect. And then when you went in for a writer's meeting and, you rolled up into the studio and they were like, "Hi, Miss Lottie, can I get you a glass of water?" And I was like, "Thank you so much." And there was more respect and I liked that.
Yeah.
Now at the time you couldn't start your own show. So if at that time, if YouTube was around, I would have probably been a YouTuber, and then, so then I got into the writing game and, I got a 3-picture deal with Fox and every one of my movies went into turnaround. And what that means is that the studio pays you, but they don't end up making it. Now, what's really interesting is my goal was to sell scripts. That was because my dad was like, nobody can, only 1 in 10 billion people can do that. And I was like, I'm going to do it. So all I thought about was selling scripts. And so if you look at the trajectory of my career, I sold a lot of scripts. I was never thinking about making the movie. I was just thinking about selling the scripts. And so what was interesting is that one of the studio executives said to me, all good writers want to be directors. You don't want to be a director? And I was like, I don't know. And so then I got hired to do to adapt this book, this British novel, and to turn it into a screenplay. And I did a good job. And then the studio, instead of hiring me to do the rewrite, the president at the time didn't want to get fired. So she wanted to hire like a Nora Ephron, like a really big screenwriter, and basically passed on me to go hire her. And I was devastated. And I was so devastated that it was the first time that I was just like, I don't like this. Like, this isn't a good business. Like, here I am working my ass off. I'm actually probably more talented than this other person, but one person, one woman, maybe PMSing, afraid of her job, I don't know. She can change the whole trajectory of my life. Wow. And so when I was trying to be a screenwriter and consistent money, because you'd make some money here and then you wouldn't. I was buying and selling stuff online. So I was an early adopter of eBay, in 1998. And I would buy and sell. Yeah. And so what I had done in the early 2000s was I saw that all these people were buying fake Balenciaga bags online. Yeah. Right. And it was killing me because you weren't allowed to message them. So I made in the middle of the night, I made a PDF called How to Buy an Authentic Balenciaga Bag. And I put it on eBay for $5. The next morning I'd sold 20 of them. So I was like, wait a minute. So then I created a blog that you had to pay to get into, $29.95 a month. Next thing you know, I've sold $20,000, 20,000 of these memberships, right? And literally I took the fake handbag market, and because I gave everybody the information, I put them out of business. And nobody wanted to buy a bag from anybody but me. So I came in and I contacted every girl, Barney's, the girl in Kuwait, Balenciaga, New York, Aspen, small stores. And I bought up everything. Wow. And I literally got a black card, right? I could not, I'm like,
of course,
I spent so much money. And I was flipping them $1,000 each time. Bam, 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 bam. And so what I knew, and I was all about the customer service. I'm talking this bag had to be beautiful. The leather was perfect. And I noticed that every time I bought something, I always bought it for myself. And every time I wanted to flip it, I made money. So what I also created was this forum. And in this forum, it was private. And there was I think a few hundred members. And every time I bought something, they'd be like, I need that. And so it just kept going. So eventually, and then I started selling real scripts. So I stopped doing that. Right. Wow. But that psychology and that knowledge was in my mind. So then what happened is, Sarah,
I have to ask you, where did that come from? Because that is essentially the funnels that people are attempting to create now, but you were doing it back then.
I'll tell you, I didn't go to business school. So I didn't have a book of rules. There was no, you see what I'm saying? A lot of people say, oh, well, you need to think outside of the box. I didn't know that there was a box. Okay. So sometimes your ignorance is the greatest thing. I didn't know that I couldn't do it. I didn't know. So in my mind, when I started Lashify, I was like, oh, this is going to be massive. Like the idea of it not being this huge thing, it didn't even exist, because I knew what I had created, and I could see it and I could feel it. And so basically, going back to, so I'm doing this and I'm kind of overwriting. I'm just done with it. And at this point, I've really thrown myself into healing dogs, because I'm realizing there's all these sick dogs all over the place. Nobody knows how to fix them. And I do, because I'm into like natural stuff. And then I realized there's no research for the natural stuff that actually works, because, you know, the veterinary world is being ruled by the pharmaceutical companies. So there's a conflict of interest. So a vet said to me, you know, Sahara, if you want medicine that cures animals, you're going to have to fund it yourself. And I was like, then I will. And I was like, then I will. And so then a few vets, I went to them. They're like, wow, your bulldog is the most gorgeous bulldog I've ever seen. What did you do? I said, I used turmeric and homeopathy. And they'd be like, and they would say, well, there's no research. And so I'm like, you know what? Then I'm going to do it. And so I knew that the way to make money, to make real money, was to patent things. Because when I was a kid, all the rich people in Florida that had the boats had patents. So I was like, well, this Persian girl, I'm going to make a patent. And so that's what I did. And so I was like, I need to make a lot of money. Is it my vacuum idea or is it my lash idea? Lash idea. So then like, that was my impetus, because I was like mad about it. And so then I just, because, you know, you don't like, if your impetus is like, I want to be rich so I can buy like all these Birkins, it's not really gonna do, I don't think that's really the right approach. So my approach was, I actually, I want to be able to fund these studies so nobody can ever say what she said to me again. You know what I mean? Because I have all the evidence here. I have the 20,000 dogs that are okay, that were going to die, that aren't. And you're telling me there's not enough research. So then I'm going to pay for that research. And so the first, I don't know, 50 or 100,000 that I was able to give, I did the first year. And so now,
and with lash, like, were you just like, you know what? It's really hard to put these lashes on. There's got to be a better way. Yeah. Like, were you in your bathroom?
So what happened was in 2015, I was obsessing on it. Okay. Wow. Then I couldn't take my dog with me somewhere. And I was like, I need to make this. And then I came back from a trip 2016. I'm like, I'm doing this. And then I just went in hard. So I had researched all over the world. I'm a really good shopper. I looked in Russia. I looked in Japan. I looked in China. I looked in Vietnam. I looked in Czechoslovakia, France, everywhere. This thing that I kind of had envisioned in my mind didn't exist. And it started to like bother me, where I was like, it's got to be there, because I was seeing it in my mind, but it didn't exist in reality. So then I was like, well, how do I make this thing? So then I had clay, and and then I knew how to melt gold. So I started making like my first wands, and it was just like, and then somebody was like, you need a CAD designer. I'm like, what? CAD? Okay. So then it was like, okay, CAD designer. Then I was like, okay, I need to make these lashes. I looked all over the US. Nobody. There's not one lash factory in the United States. So then I was like, well, the Koreans started lash extensions. Maybe they know something. So I went to Korea, only to find out they know nothing except that PBT is the fiber we need, because it was invented by the Koreans. The PBT fiber is what we use for Lashify. And so basically, I learned about PBT, and then I came back home and I just started like melting things, and and it was weird. It was almost like I was like in a meditation, where I was like, I got to crack this. And then when I finally made my first lash, I remember I put it on, and I looked in the mirror, and I was like, my friends are going to freak out. And what's weird is I only had one friend that used lash extensions.
Wow.
But I was like, I remember saying, my friends are going to freak out. And I was actually referring to like this collective that was eventually going to be my customer fan base, because I still work for that same energy. Does that make sense? I still do it.
Every day.
I still do it for that. And when I tell you, like, that's what keeps me going. If you want to know how we've been so successful, because really my goal is when I hear these stories of like people telling me they have like, agoraphobia, haven't left the house for 5 years, they put on Lashify, they left for the first time, or somebody that just got over cancer, massive depression, put her lashes back on and like feels like she's alive again. Like that stuff is really real. And it's really what life is about. And it's what keeps me going, because man, there is a lot of stress.
I know. Just personally, after I had my boys, I had postpartum depression, and I was just a hot mess. And my cousin, she was like, you should check out Lashify, and you are just going to love the woman who runs it, Sahara. She's amazing. And I was like, okay. Like, I'm like, I go to the store, get my lashes, like, and I've seen some other stuff on Instagram, like, okay, I'll check it out. I checked it out and I was like, oh. And I was like, and you were like doing a tutorial, and I was like, oh, this looks easy. So I bought some. And when I tell you, it's like, it was just like, it just instantly lifted my spirits. And I felt beautiful again.
Yeah.
For the first time in a really long time.
Isn't that weird?
It was so powerful.
It's
just like a lash.
Yeah, just a lash. Because what it does is, we have these lashes that, first of all, are made with love. Like there's a real intention behind that lash, but also it's so beautiful because I am very picky. I am like a very OCD, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think in different ways, and the lash alone, when you look at it, it's beautiful. And then when you put it on your eyelashes, you're like, now that's me. That's right. That's who I am.
Seamless. It's seamless, y'all.
Yeah. And you
go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, you literally feel like a better version of yourself. Yeah. My friend Kim used to always say to me, I'd be like, what about wigs? She's like, no, can't do the wig. And I would be like, why? She's like, she would go, the wig messes with my head. It messes with my head. Mm-hmm. And that's what the strip lash, for me, strip lash is a wig. That's not mine. That's not mine.
Nope.
Like when I get a sew-in, that's mine. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
But a wig is not mine. Right.
No.
And so that's what this is it's an extension of yours, and it's yours. Right. You don't feel like a fake. You don't feel like, you know what I mean? It's the same psychology.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So the name Lashify.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Were you just like,
so believe it or not, the first business that I was like thinking, I thought I'd call it Pimp My Lash. Okay. I thought that was like amazing.
So fun.
I start, first it was going to be like this small thing called Pimp My Lash. I was just going to make a watch. Okay. So I was going to do that. Then, I hired Sasha to do my logo, and she was like, Pimp My Lash. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be so funny. Pimp My Lash. And then, cause I thought I put it on Amazon, and she was like, and I'm like, okay, fine. I'll look for another one. So then I was like, Lasha. And then I was like, Lashify. And then I go and I see that the website's available for sale. And I was like, okay, I'm buying it. So then what happened is she made me a logo. Wow. And she made me 3 logos. And once she made me this one logo, the Lashify logo, but the S was different. And I was like,
yeah,
that logo. And then I looked at it and I was like, no. This is a system. This is a system. This isn't just a wand. This is a system with a whole thing. So it was like that then took me to the next level. And then I was like, okay, now once I did one thing, then I kept pushing myself. No, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do this. And the last was the lash, because the lash, I could create them myself in my lab. But how do we get 1,000 workers who have never made this kind of lash before make this lash? So that was the most difficult aspect of bringing Lashify to market, was the teaching people that have been doing something for 100 years how to think about it differently. You know, so they were like, why are you trying to make this so thin? It's going to break. You're going to ruin it or waste money. And we're going to get bad. I was like, because I didn't want to tell them how you apply it. You know what I mean? So then I could feel, I don't know, I can't explain it. Once I could feel the energy around it, and I just kept going and going. So then that's how it all sort of happened. And then
amazing.
And then the rest is history.
I love it. And just for the people who may not know exactly what Lashify is.
Okay.
What's the elevator pitch?
Okay. So the elevator pitch is that it's lash extensions that you can do yourself. So what we did was, previous to Lashify, there were single to single lash extensions. And so the technician comes in and glues them one by one on your lash. If they glue it to 2-3 lashes, it's going to rip out your lashes, because we're using a cyanoacrylate, a really hard glue. So my innovation and my idea was, if we take multiple clusters and we melt or heat or fuse them together, we can create little segments of lash extensions that the base has to be incredibly flat and thin, because that way it can stick underneath your lash. But we need a tool that is shaped to your lid, that is going to fuse them down the way that they would sit on your lash. And so basically with Lashify, we come in and our technicians pre-make these PBT fibers that are made in multiple clusters that look like the way the natural lash will grow. And then you come in, you apply them underneath, and you fuse them, just like pin the tail on the donkey. And because the lashes are so thin, you can actually come and stack them on top of each other more and more. And so you can create any looks that you want. You can come in with a shorter one in the corner, a longer one in the end. You know what I mean? You can make them zigzag, and basically creativity, like it's like endless creativity. And there's a large group of beauty lovers that love to DIY. They like to do things themselves. And so this was like, all of a sudden they had this magical ability, because we needed the lash, we needed the bond, we needed the tool. Okay. Yes. As long as we had those three things, we'd never had to go to a lash tech again. And the thing is, I loved my lash extensions. I didn't feel like I was cute without them. But the problem is that they weren't lasting a long time. And I couldn't drive to Koreatown every day, sit in traffic for an hour. It was a lot. And I was like, when I started it, I was just thinking about, what can I use to have a fill so I don't look crazy? You know what I mean? And so that's that's basically what Lashify is. So we've out innovated the strip lash technology. We've out innovated the lash extension technology. So technology, at one point we had brick cell phones. Now we have iPhones. It's very similar. And so when you come in with a disruptive company or a disruptive concept, nobody trusts you. Everybody hates you. And then all of a sudden everybody hates you, but they want to copy you. And all of a sudden they're like, first they're like, this is garbage. It's strip lashes. Then they're like, oh, you didn't do anything. You didn't even invent this. It was done before. Then it was like, no, you did, but you don't deserve a patent. Then it's just like, no matter what, like nobody wants to kind of like, give you the credit because you're either pissing people off, you're just pissing people off, but the customers are happy. That's exactly.
It's wild. I mean, honestly, you guys, it is the easiest thing to apply. Like I was shocked at how easy it is. You must try it. Like it's insane. And we have a lot of fashion girls who listen, fashion guys and gals who listen to this show. And I mean, I personally think a lash elevates a look.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions, especially with Fashion Week going on? I know like you have your lash maps and, different combinations and creative layering.
We're actually, what are we, we're going to be, what are we doing in Fashion Week? We're doing something. We're there. I know Justin is flying in next week.
Amazing.
So I think, right now, honestly, the Stardust lashes are revolutionary. The reason the Stardust are revolutionary is because it's 5 layers of PBT, and the PBT is 0.07 millimeters fiber. And so they're very, very wispy, but it's the lightest lash that we make, and it's the most long lasting. And so have you tried the Stardust? Because I'll blow you.
I'm not. I've been like a basic A.
Okay, you know what? I'm sending you. Can we send her Stardust?
I need to send her the Stardust. Basic.
Don't worry. I'm going to help. No, she's going to send you the Stardust. That is, I think, one of our most fun lashes. But the beauty of Lashify is that you just buy the kit. Once you have the kit, you can refill, you can reuse. Yes. I wanted to make this affordable for anybody. So in the sense that the most expensive part of it is to buy the control kit. Once you got that, you refer people, we give you free lashes, you name it. You know what I mean? And because for us, we can either spend a ton of money on marketing, or we can pass that to our customers who do the marketing for us too. So Absolutely. Really the goal is just, we can make money, but we can't make time. And that's what it was about. Yeah.
You stay dropping the gems. I can't. No, you guys, I swear, like I will be like up late at night. The boys just, they've finally gone to sleep. And I'm just like, oh, it's been such a long day. Then I look at Instagram and I'm like, oh, Sahara's doing lashes. And I just turn it on and it's just so much fun. You always give great advice. She does amazing, like all these cool lash combinations. And you even let the community help sometimes. Totally. Like what should I add on?
Here's what's funny. Okay, so listen, daytime starting at 8 a.m. all the way through. It's like meeting after meeting, business, da. My way of relaxing is going online and doing my lashes. And sometimes I'm not even like, sometimes I had a couple drinks. I'm like, hey.
I know, just like, hey, Afrobeat.
Right. Like I've got my beats going.
Her music is bomb, y'all. Like they have a Lashify playlist, which we will add in the show notes because it's popping. But
well, you know why? So, like I said, I grew up in Northern California, and there was a station called KITS. And at midnight, every night they had dance hall hour. And so when I was a kid, that's what I would listen to starting at around 9 years old. Every night, midnight dance hall hour. Okay. So by the time I was 16, I was obsessed with Pata Bantan, Yellow Man, Burning Spear, Black Uhuru, Steel Pulse. I was like going to Santa Cruz, you name it. Like I was really into that. And so what's interesting is that's always been, first it started with like reggae, then it was dancehall, then it was just like Afro beats, but that music lifts me like in a way, and I can't even, it just creates energy. And then I started hearing A-Star's beats, and I was like, who is this person? Okay. I'm like, who is this person? So I contacted him or something. And A-Star is massive in the UK. He's like one of the biggest Afro beats artists. And I basically got 5 of his songs from him. And I was like, I'm going to play these. I'm going to do it. And so we made a deal. And so I play that music all the time. They're not going to kick me off Instagram. I got the rights. Okay.
I cannot. I love it. Really quickly. What is your sun sign?
Gemini, Libra rising, Scorpio moon.
You're a Gemini?
Yeah. Gemini.
Oh, God, me too.
Really? Yeah.
I knew it. I'm a Leo rising, but I have the Cancer moon.
That's good. That's a good moon though. I have a lot in Cancer too. I know, but I have a lot in Cancer as well. No, it's good. It's really good when Geminis have the other stuff, because otherwise they're like,
I know.
too shallow, too shallow.
But no, but like sort of that, like when I call it basement mode, when you're just like focused and you're like, I got to get this done. You become obsessed with it in a way. But I think it helps you build something. And speaking of building, you have built an amazing community. I think that in addition to the product, you have built this amazing Lashify community. Like, how did you do it? And what is the reasoning behind that as well? Because that takes a lot of work too.
Well, remember, it goes back to what I said before about, I knew that in the early 2000s that communities is how I would mostly sell product, right? If I wanted to. And so I knew that I liked communities. And then I realized that, I was doing that forum stuff like early 2000s. I'm like an OG when it comes to the internet. Like I know HTML, I can do a little code. So I've also been like a very like sort of strong personality. So I know how to run forums. I can smell a troll from 5,000 miles away. I myself am a great troll. You can't troll a troll. You know what I mean? And so I was like, so when someone comes in and they're, I'm like, get out, bye. So I'm a very strong personality, and that sort of strong personality is what guides the group. So these are the things I believe in. I believe in equality. I have friends of all different colors, white, black, Chinese, Latina, Middle Eastern, whatever. I'm that's what I'm into. And I don't see, that's it. We all love lashes, period. End of story. we all love lashes. We love to laugh. We love music. We love each other. You know how much joy it brings me when I see, we know this, like you go into these like beauty groups, there's everyone, it's a lot of the same people. The first great review that I got, just so you know, was in Lipstick Alley. If Lipstick Alley gives me a good review, I have never been so happy in my life. Because I was
that is wild.
Because they will either
drag you or lift you.
And so they actually lifted me up. And for me, I love the fact that we have white girls posting, we have black girls posting, we have Asian girls. I love that. And everybody's in it and everyone's equal. And it's not, because the issue that we're having is that people don't interact, man. They don't interact in the way that they should. And when I was a kid, I didn't even realize, like I lived in Atherton, and then and I went to Menlo Atherton, and then all these kids also lived in East Palo Alto. I didn't know that East Palo Alto was redlined. I didn't know that. So, but what was cool was that I was in a public school, right? So it was like, we all hanging, we're right. But the truth is, it's redline. That's not right. Right. I didn't know that. Yeah. And that's what we have to sort of remove, those barriers.
Yeah.
Between
and I love it. I will say specifically on the Facebook group, a lot of people post like, like in their cars with their lashes, or like at their weddings, or, just out and about. And it's so diverse in age, like race, gender, like it's just so beautiful. And it's such a great way, like for all of us to like interact together. It's like, you look good, girl. Like,
Isn't it though? But like, do you know how funny it is when one of my clients said, Sahara, my son came in and goes, Mom, are you listening to A-Star? Like literally, like that's really funny. You know what I mean? The mom's like, it's just like bringing people's mojos back.
I mean, I need a Lashify conference. I'm just telling you right now. I mean, you can call it something else.
We're doing it.
Summits, whatever. I'm trying to go.
I've been talking about a Lashify cruise for like 3 years now. I know. We're doing it. Okay. We're doing it. So, nothing. That's my greatest joy, is like bringing everybody together.
We have so much fun. And
so much fun. So much fun.
Like we're lifting each
so
other
much.
up, which I love.
Really,
it's like,
really
girl,
we are.
go girl. Yeah.
Really we are.
And we need it. And we need it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, we dealt with COVID. We've like that group has been through a lot together. First it was COVID that was like freaking everybody out. Then George Floyd, that was freaking everybody out.
Oh my God.
Then, you know what I'm saying? So we've gone through things. And I think we've all kind of gotten closer. And also I think for us as a company, one of the hardest things was to get people to trust us. When I tell you, because we've all been so ripped off in general, like every time you buy something from Instagram, it's like the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? So everyone's really paranoid about being scammed. And I spent the first probably 2 years of my business trying to convince people that I'm not a scammer. And so it was hard. And I was like, why am I dealing with this? And I realized, because the people before me set it up this way, so a lot of times we pay for someone else's history. And the thing is when you get the trust of the consumer, that's, you never want to lose that, So, and you always want to make them your number one, no matter what. So,
and, I think it's beyond just lashes. I think in general right now, people are just, like there's people out there who are just selling whatever. Like, it seems like you're constantly being like sold something, especially with social media.
Yeah.
So, and then you don't really know what the intentions are behind the brand, behind the product. So I really feel like with Lashify, the authenticity has been very important and in helping you become so successful, because in your lives, you'll be like, oh, well, we're working on this, or like when you spoke about how to wash the lashes, like I remember that one specifically, and you're like, okay, we use there's like this little washing machine, like,
oh my God, that was so funny. This is what I mean.
That. I was like, and you were like, I think I'm gonna like create something so can but then you came up with a different product to take the lashes off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a constantly evolving thing, and you're listening to the customers and you're finding solutions, which I love.
What we need. Yeah. To what we need. It's really fun because it's kind of like, imagine you're like a chef and everybody's waiting for your food. You're like, okay, I just made something amazing. You know what I mean? And so there's that back and forth. Really, as a brand, I look at myself like I'm a beauty innovator. What else can we make that's going to make our life better? What are we going to do that's going to make us feel good? And the thing is beauty at the core of it. Anybody that really loves beauty, they love it because of how it makes people feel. And what happened was somewhere along the line, it became about lies and marketing. And I don't know when that happened, but no, beauty can make people feel really good. And I looked into it. When you look at the lash market, I was like, wow, there's like no innovation. Wow, mascara, nobody's reformulated since like 1901. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why is that? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because the people that own the companies generally don't use the products. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the thing is if you keep, it's very important for me to protect female entrepreneurs. And the reason that I'm really aggressive about our IP and protecting our IP is because generally, up until now, nobody has ever respected IP, especially in the beauty place, from women. So almost every single patent has been infringed on, and you don't hear about all of these like inventor because they didn't get paid. You know what I mean? And so I was like, well, if I'm going to put this much thought energy into this and I'm going to put my soul into this, I don't want to get knocked off. And then I realized that all of these hair extension inventions, all of these wig inventions, all of these every one of them get stolen. So why would people keep innovating? How come we got it? How come we got a guy on the moon? How come we got electric cars, but we can't put our lashes on?
Yeah.
Because the people that are actually innovating, the ones that actually emotionally need it, they need it so much they're willing to invent it, they're willing to tap in to figure it out. Those people, they're not scientists and patent writers and engineers. They're just people with brilliant ideas. And so I was like, we have to make a change, because how do you build wealth this through generational wealth? Well, you only build it if somebody can respect what's yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. And you have several trademarks and patents, and
we have 105 patents.
I mean, how difficult. I think that sometimes people get intimidated with inventions or, trademarks or patents. Like, isn't that hard? So for someone who has an idea, like, what advice would you give to them in terms of just how to go about establishing something like that?
The first thing I would do is I would write down the idea and explain it as well as I can with a picture, and draw it out. That's the first thing. Don't show it to anybody. Get a patent attorney. It doesn't have to be a super expensive patent attorney. It's called a patent prosecutor. And a prosecutor is the one that writes your patent for you. And then you get a provisional. And a provisional means that, like, even if you come in and say, my name is Kirsten, here's my invention, it's going to be a this and a this, and you send it to the patent office with a timestamp, that's your provisional. Okay. Wow. So what happens is it can take you 4 or 5 years to finish that patent. Okay. But if the date of your provisional, that's what matters. So right now, let's say I'm in litigation, right? My patent was granted in 2020. My provisional started in 2016. People started copying me, right? That's a chance they took, because you can copy someone when their patent is pending. But once that patent gets once you get it, you're home. It can come free.
It's over.
Right?
Wow.
And so the biggest issue is that my date is 2016. Because that's when so you can come in and say, oh, this was there in 2018 and 19 because I invented it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then they try to confuse the marketplace, and they try to go, oh, well, no, but this and this and this. No. 2016. So that's the first thing. After that, you get the patent, and then you decide if you need money to create it, or most of the time you don't. You can make that one thing, like I made my first lash myself, you know what I mean? And I patented that, right?
Okay.
And then you get a design patent. So if you're doing a design of something, that takes just about a year or two to get. A utility patent, which is how something works, that takes about 4 or 5 years. And that's the strong patent. Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's
so many.
Really what you want to do is, if you want to get a trademark, don't bother trying to sign up yourself. Get a lawyer to do it. It shouldn't be that much, but it's also important that a patent doesn't really mean anything if you're not able to protect it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the patent alone, whatever, $5,000, $10,000, protecting it, millions of dollars. And so that's something that we have to sort of change, because the way that the system is set up, it's very oppressive. No. It's very, it's like the rich are getting richer, because what happens is people like me come and we innovate. And then the big mass market companies go to the Chinese factories and they say, hey, what do you have? And then the Chinese factories say, oh, here's what we have. All of their ideas are from the recent American patents or from the little businesses. So then the big guys come in and go, okay, give us that. We're going to flood the marketplace. So then they come in, they flood the marketplace, and
Terrible.
they take all the business. And by the time the small guy comes in, they don't have any sales anymore, and they can't defend it because they've been drowned out. And so I saw that happen twice to people. And I was like, that's not happening to me. So what I did was I came in, and then I started pushing the name Lashify out. And so that was one of the best things I did, because by the time the copycats came, people were like, what you doing? That's Lashify. They were like, no, they were like, hey, this is the new way to lash. They were like, hey, this is the new way to lash. And people are like, no, it's not. This has been around for a minute. What are you talking about? And as a small entrepreneur, the thing that you have is your voice. You have your voice. Use it. You know what I mean? Make some noise. They have 10,000 footprints in every Walmart, every CVS, every Target, right? I can't beat them, but I have a voice, and I can talk, and I can be loud, and I can be like, hey.
I love it. Yes. Well, I'm going to. Oh, good.
I was going to say, it's funny because, you know, in some of the legal stuff, they ask, you know, why did you say this? I'm like, I said it because I have to say it. You know what I mean? Like, I have to say things for people to listen to me. I'm here. Hi, you know? So
you have to.
But like, defend yourself, speak your mind. I see a lot of people on TikTok, like talking about like this happened, that happened. The people can save us. Right? The people can save us. Because if the people come and say, you know what? No, we're not okay with this. We're not okay with this. Hey, so-and-so store, stop selling that. Hey, so-and-so store. You know what I mean? The people, because otherwise, you know, it's political. Everything's political, right?
The Lashify army, I tell you, we let her know. We will let you know if something goes down. I love it. So, you know what? You're always in the camera, applying the lash. Your skin is perfection. I need to know, what are you putting on your face, Sahara? What is your beauty routine?
You know what? It's a freaking filter. Okay, let's get that first part right. What? Nobody looks that good.
What? I mean, the skin is like...
I think I got the Persian skin. Okay, I have my mom has good skin. And I use a lot of natural products. I really genuinely think, you want to know what the fountain of youth is? Water, aloe vera. Okay. Aloe vera does things to the skin and to the hair that there's just not enough attention put on that. Okay. Water, aloe vera, aromatherapy, stuff that's natural with active ingredients. That's the stuff that I'm super interested in. And, you know, I've done a little, you know, a little Ulthera here and a little Ulthera there, you know, but whatever.
I'm due.
You know, people ask me, anytime somebody asks me, like, what have you done? I tell them. What am I going to do? Lie about it?
Why not?
Literally, you know, if that wasn't a gift from God, then be straight about it, because they're going to feel like there's something wrong with it. No, be straight about it. If that's a gift from a doctor, say so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, you know, gravity happens. It happens, but not over here. So going into there is I have like all the lives in my head. There was a live where you were talking about a period in your life where you were just like completely drowned in debt, but you were giving us advice on how to shop for the essentials. You were talking about quality versus quantity and being very selective about
I remember. So I'll tell you
what
right
you
now.
choose.
So basically, remember when I said like the handbags, right? So I was a luxury shopper. So anytime I made any money, like the first thing I would do, like, listen, if I made $5,000, I spent $5,200. Okay. That was me. Okay. And it didn't matter if I couldn't afford it. The more I couldn't afford it, the more I wanted it. Okay. And so what happened was, at some point I was making all this money writing, and I was buying all these handbags, And then next thing you know, there's a writer's strike and I'm not making money. And so I'm like, oh shit, I got to pay my mortgage. Sell a bag, sell a bag, sell a bag. But here's the thing. If that bag was from like H&M or from Zara, so you have no problem buying 5 bags from H&M or Zara. Well, if you add those 5 bags together, that's the price of that one designer bag, right? Yeah. But the thing is that designer bag holds value. You can always sell that designer bag. Wow. And so usually if it's a good one, it'll keep going up. And so I always thought, well, instead of buying like literally, I would go on eBay and I'd find like Louboutin for like $150, like somehow some sample sale. And then when I wanted to sell them, I would sell them for like $400. So I was always like trying to buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high. But I was, and the thing is I found myself, so I always tell people like, don't waste money on the junk. Save for, like every season you're like, shit, it's winter. I got to buy clothes. Buy one really nice jacket. Yeah. Buy one really nice boots. The rest of these Zara tank top, whatever, but buy those essentials and you're going to look good. You know what I'm saying? Those little things. Like, you look at a man and you look at his shoes, you look at a girl, you look at her lashes, right? When you've got like beautiful lashes that look like you spent $1 million bucks, like that's a whole look, right?
I love it.
That's sort of my view. And also I will tell you, I was a huge shopaholic and I just wanted to buy, I would go like walk by stores and blink like I was like a genie and somehow it would come to me. I'd be like, I want that. And I'd blink again. I'm like, I want that. So I know it's so crazy. But what's so funny is that, I've made money now. I can buy what I want. I don't want any of it, Kirsten. It's all designed for people that can't afford it. Ooh, that's what's up. My God. Yeah, I'm telling you. Wait.
It's
a trap. Mm-hmm.
Wait. So how did you shift your thinking here?
You want to know?
Like what? Yeah.
Because I work so hard for my money. And then I'm like, am I really going to pay $5,000 for this freaking leather bag that's not even leather, that has somebody's logo on it? Not worth it. Not worth it. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So you want one of them, but I don't need 15 of them. I needed 15 of them when I couldn't afford them. Does that make sense? Right. Like I need it. And so what I realized is that's a trap too. There was no stress in this world. No stress that was bigger than how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay that Visa? How am I going to pay that Amex? No stress. I remember walking, like literally driving in my car and being like, deep breath, like, how am I going to, and when Amex was calling me like, hey, and
they don't play.
They do not play.
Amex does not play.
And so why? So I could get that throw. What the hell was I going to do with these 50,000 Balenciaga bags? Wow. What was I going to do? So what I realized is I had an addiction. I either had to be shopping or I had to be selling.
Wow.
Okay. Because it's right. I just had to be doing something like that. And so now I'm like, I'm not getting in that trap. Spend your money on jewelry that makes you feel a certain way, or something designer. Buy one if you have to buy it. So then you can sell it just in case. And it's all replaceable. None of it means anything at the end of the day.
That is wild. That completely makes sense because people who don't have the means are essentially trying to prove something. Like there's a self-worth connection there.
That's right. That's right. And it's actually kind of like the devil. Okay. I'm telling you, because it will get you into a lot of trouble and then you won't feel good. And then you'll be like, I'm broke. And then you're like, but I don't feel, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's a cycle. I did it. Yeah, I hate that. I'm telling you, and I remember there's no bigger stress. I'd rather be sick than in debt like that and feel that way. You know what I mean? Because at least if you're sick, you're going to die maybe. I know. You're like, shit, that's over.
I get out with you. I love it. I love it.
But like, that ain't leaving. Nobody's going to get
stressful. That's stressful. It is. It really is. And I think in fashion, especially, there's always this like oh, like in order to be in, you need this. And especially during fashion week, people are like, oh my God, for the influencers who want to be photographed and may not be getting their items for free, may feel pressure to.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, what's the problem with that is, so you come and you're like, okay, I'm going to buy that Bottega jacket. And you're like, okay, I'm going to spend like a lot on it. And then all of a sudden it's on sale for 70% off. And you're like, I'm an idiot if I just waited 3 months, and then you don't want to do it again. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's over. It's like over in 2 seconds.
And this is the thing is, like, you can't take the Persian out of the Persia. I don't like paying retail. I really don't like it. It does not bring me joy. And so that's why with Lashify, the first thing I did was offer a membership. I'm like, nobody likes retail.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's all
brilliant.
It's all a projection of how I want it to be. I want things on discount. I'll sign up for a membership. I'll be loyal. Give me that at a certain price. You'll
be like, I'm creating a discount code right now. And I'm like, yes, like Megan, she's on my team. She's actually in New York on the ground right now at Fashion Week. She's like, I got them in, Kirsten. Like, she's so excited. And she's like, and I got them on sale. There's a discount code.
Oh,
we love the discount codes.
I love a discount. I will not go to a Bed Bath & Beyond without that code.
Oh,
no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. It's like offensive.
Not. Absolutely. And I have to ask, and I'm sure you've said it a million times or you haven't shared it, but that necklace, your signature necklace, the evil eye necklace, y'all.
Yeah.
It's so
so Lido is a designer in Greece, and years ago, like when I was writing, I bought one of her necklaces. And what's really weird is, like, it has some power. I'm not kidding, because every time something goes wrong, it breaks. It's like, I'm telling you. So it's like a protection for me.
Oh my God.
I love it. I have asked her, I was like, can you please do a collaboration with me? And she's like, well, because her stuff's really expensive. She's all about the fine jewelry.
Absolutely.
So I'm working on it. I'm going to work on it. I'm telling you, I would love.
It's gorgeous, you guys. It's so gorgeous.
I love these little evil eye things, I love jewelry.
I love it. Well, who are you wearing right now, Sahara? Who are your go-to designers? You're always in black, which I love.
I'm in the same shirt. I wear the same. You got, honest to God, ask Andrea. I have 20 of these dresses because I have so many decisions to make that the last thing I want to do is figure out what I'm going to wear. But I did go a little bit crazy lately. I really, speaking of Bottega, I'm not going to lie, they're making some amazing stuff. I got the leather shorts and, got some heels, but I don't leave my house, man. All I do is work. I don't leave my house. I don't even care. I like it.
But weren't you out like with Dita at one point, like a few weeks ago?
I've left, I'll tell you, I went to D Nice last weekend, the weekend before.
You went?
Okay, so let me tell. Okay, so one of my really good friends, Jessica Rosenblum. That's how I met Kim. Jessica gave D Nice his first gig, and so he flew her in, and so we went. And when I tell you, it was magical. Wow. It was the energy, the vibe. I looked at Jessica and I was like, we are going to church. And she was like, and I'm telling you, I have never been to an event at the Hollywood Bowl that felt like that. Like, I came out of that, unbelievable. And what he did for a lot of people during COVID was he lifted them like out of the darkness, and it was honestly like I could cry talking about it. That event was incredible, and he is such good people.
I love it. Well, I could talk to you forever because I love hearing you just share, and I will be watching the IG lives, and I would highly recommend that you all check them out because, she's talking about church, with D Nice. But when I tell you Sahara with that necklace, honey, I feel like you ministered to me. You're like, I don't know who needs to hear this tonight, but
It's true.
I'm going to share. And when you do, I was like, like one of your IG lives, I was just like crying in the dark. Like I was going through like a crazy time. And you were like, I don't know who needs to hear this. And it just like spoke to my soul. And I was like, Sahara just took me to church. So you do that as well. You do that as well.
You got, this is, it's about being obedient, right? You have to stay in line, stay in line. I believe in that. I believe in listening to my spirit telling me what to do. And sometimes I feel like I got to say something, so I say it. Sometimes I feel like I got to get in line, so I get online. When you do work like this, believe it or not, when you're sort of like the face of a brand, you have the ability to lift people up, or you have ability to take them down. You know what I mean? And it's something you have to
know you can take someone down. Sorry.
But you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
for sure.
Yeah, but I take that very seriously. Like I'm never going to get on there. I'm never going to get online and have bad energy. Otherwise I'm not coming online. Does that make sense? It's like,
absolutely.
You have to be on top of your game and because people need it, and so it's what's beautiful about it is it's back and forth. It's just back and forth.
Absolutely. Well, this is a fashion moment. And I know that you have forsaken some of your fashionable garbs, but, is there a moment in your life, it could be personal, professional, or something that you've witnessed that was truly just magical for you, like a fashion moment? Like some people share like their child, a dress that maybe they wore for Easter when they were like 5 that they vividly remember. Like there's just so many things, but is there something that really sticks out for you?
Oh yeah. Okay. So when I was little, I was all about laying in the sun. Okay. You see these gold bracelets that I wear?
Yeah.
I always had these on. And we were in Greece and there was these summer dresses and they were, and the arms were made of chains. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So fly. So imagine like chiffon and then with like these little chains it was so gorgeous. And so all my life I was looking for that dress and I eventually found one. But I love fashion. I'm a shoe person. I've always been into shoes and handbags. I generally wear all black. Why? Because I like it. Okay. Like I like the color black. I like to wear black. I look better in black than anything else. I just do. But for me, it's all about the shoes. If your shoes are wrong, the whole thing's wrong. Wrong.
Do you have a go-to shoe?
Well, I will tell you that I me and Dita talk about this. I was wearing Louboutins like literally in my last college year because I would buy them on eBay. I'd get good prices on them. You know what I mean? So right now, for shoes, I would say one of my favorites is Celine. Has always been. Yes. Like I said, I like the Bottegas right now. You know those furry Louis Vuitton slippers? I wore the shit out of those for like 2 years. Literally. And I'm like cruelty free, but I was like, I got it. Right? I mean, honestly, I love fashion, but I swear, I am going to Fashion Week in Paris. So I do have my outfits.
Yes.
Ready for
Are they done? Are they curated or is it still
curated? Well, I was going to hire a stylist and then like I got this stylist and she's like, great. Oh my God, it's going to be so amazing. I'm $5,000 a day. I was like, oh my God. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Right.
Oh, I can't give you, cause I was like, I have good taste. Like I just need you to buy stuff for me and then ask me if and then I'll say yes or no. I don't need you to give me a makeover. Do you know what I could buy for $5,000? No, I can't help it. I'm like cheap like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm just cheap like that.
It makes sense though. It makes sense. You don't need all of that.
I'm telling you, even if I make $5,000 a second, which I don't, but I'm saying even if I did, I don't want to pay that. Like I just don't. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, I don't need that kind of help.
No.
So I don't know, but maybe you could help me. No, I'm actually wanting to do
We'll talk offline.
Listen, I'm actually I want a fashion app. I've asked my assistants to put all my clothes inside of a fashion app so I can freaking see what I own. But
we will talk offline.
Okay.
We will talk offline.
Yeah.
Because I mean, years ago, I'm like, there needs to be something that can do that easily. Thumbnails, switch it around. Anywho, I'm not gonna like let it all out. But you know what's interesting? Like from an entrepreneurial standpoint, at the time, I presented, the entire idea to some venture capitalists, and there were these two guys, and they were like, I don't know, and they were like friends with my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, so like, do they like it? Like, what's going on? They're like these German twins, and he was like, let me go talk to them. He was like in medicine. And so like they have a steak dinner, and like literally at the dinner, he's like, oh yeah, they're interested. I mean, of course I broke up with him and it didn't it didn't go through, but like, it was interesting to see how women, especially women of color, it's very hard to get your ideas through. And after that, I was like, forget it. I'm done. Forget it.
Do you know how many people told me I had no idea what I was doing? Like one of the number one reasons that I won't, because I've had a lot of investors want to come and invest, and, they want governance and et cetera. And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? I'm like, because my two investors, my dad and also someone else, all of the advice that they gave me was bad advice. And if they had control over my decisions, we would have gone in the other way. So I listen to myself, because I'm going to tell you something before we leave. And this is something that everybody needs to know. Men tend to get better looking as they get older. Women get smarter. Period. And we're not given credit for it, but we get smarter. I was not this smart when I was 20. I was also not this smart when I was 32. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm only, and I realized that, and I started looking at and I'm like, you know what? That's the secret sauce right there. That's the secret sauce. Because if we get smarter, we can do a lot. We could solve problems on a massive level. So
amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. One last thing.
Idea.
This is it.
By the way.
Oh no.
You gotta do that.
I'll send it to you. I will email you. I'll email you the bullet points. But that aside, I have to ask you, because when I was doing my research on your life and amazing accomplishments, I noticed that there was a picture of you and Kim Porter, and I said, "Excuse me?
Yeah.
Excuse me?" And she had like given me my first fashion internship. Like that's like my first real thing.
What do you mean? Explain that. Where?
Yeah. So I went to Howard University in DC. Okay. And, I wanted to work in fashion my whole life. My parents were like, no, you're going to study business. They were like, you're going to study international business. So that's what I did. And so a friend of mine was like, yeah, Congressional Black Caucus, they're having a fashion show and Kim Porter is looking for interns. Like, do you want to come through and help? But it's like, sure. And I went, and she was just like, all right, style the men's section, go over here, do this, do that. I was just happy to be there, to be working in fashion. And she called me, she's like, the girl with the hair. That was my name, the whole girl with the hair, because I had this, natural hairstyle. And she was just so phenomenal and just so nice and just amazing. And I saw that you were at a dinner with her years ago, 2016. And I was just wondering, do you have any memories of her, and what was she like?
Kim was, so Kim and I became friends. I think it was 2014 or 15. I don't know. And we met through Jessica Rosenblum. And Jessica Rosenblum had, she started the White Party with Puffy, and used to manage like Master Flag and like, just, she was in that scene. She was like, you got to meet my friend Kim. She's like, because you guys are going to love each other. And so Kim had just moved to LA, and then we met and we literally became like BFF. And she would drive over the hill and she would come over for like 3-4 hours, and we would just talk, and we talk about like deep stuff, and we talk about her relationships and my whatever. And to be honest, she like, we'd be like, let's go here, let's go there. And I always flaked because I was always working on Lashify.
Oh, yeah.
And then she came over and I was like, Kim, you got to see this lash. And I put it on, and it was the blue lash. And she puts it on. I have the picture on my phone. And she was like, Kim did this thing where you'd go, do you like it? And she'd go like really dramatically. And she did that speechless thing. And so and that was the first person I ever put the blue lash on. And so it's called the Royal Kim. It's called the Royal Kim blue lash.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Wow. And so, before she, I like to say, transitioned, she put her niece with me. And so, and she set a lot of things up. She was the most magical. I really, she walked into a room and you were like, whoa. And the greatest thing about her is that she loved God and she loved being Black. She loved, when I tell you, and that's how I know so much about, like, she loved, like, I'm telling you, you'd never seen somebody with more beautiful hands, more beautiful feet,
gorgeous,
more beautiful skin, the most beautiful teeth. Every part of her was like stunning. And let me tell you, when she left this earth, that was one of, for me, the hard, like, because I loved her. Like, it was hard to meet somebody that was that dope. You know what I mean? That really was a woman. And like, what I loved about her, she knew she was fine. She knew it. She would watch, she'd take her camera. She'd be like, look at this. And I was like, and she was funny and like the funniest. And she loves her boys. Like, all she would talk about is Christian and Quincy and the girls. And like, she just loved them. And, that was like, oof, that one was hard. That was, and I mean, that one was hard, and I was doing a live and like, I just like freaked out. But yeah, she was the most special person in the world. Really 1 in a billion, everything that everybody possibly thinks about her. She was that. And she should have gotten a lot more attention in this life. And she, and at least now everybody knows. But so that was a Warhol event that we went to. A friend of mine was hosting a dinner, and so I took Kim and Marsha, which was one of Kim's girls, and we had a really good time. Yeah,
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you. I love. I mean, I actually love that you know her.
It was so fun. She was so nice. Yeah, she was like, all right. She's like oiled down the models. I was like, okay, like, like, of course they were the Sean John models at the time, and so they're like, I'm like, whatever.
What was the greatest thing about her? What was really the greatest thing about her was that she was so freaking down to earth. Like, she was so down to earth that I was so used to Hollywood. Like, she was Southern. Okay. She was like very old fashioned. Like, if you were going to date her son, you better make him breakfast in the morning.
Okay.
If you don't, I'm going to tell you something about it. No, she was like that. And you know what I'm saying? And she was like, nope, the girls are too young to do their hair. No, you know what I mean? She was just great. And we just had like a really great, kind of like a personal sort of, relationship. And I loved her.
That's so dope. That's so dope.
I do.
So blessed. So blessed. Well, thank you so much, Sahara.
Thank you, Kirsten. This was so much fun. I can't wait to hear about your app.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, listen, I'm like, I will just give it to you. Like, here, like, do your thing. Like, I just feel like it needs to happen. You know, it'll make people's lives easier.
Okay, and let me tell you. So, and I want to tell you this: if any of you are thinking of starting a business, the number one thing before you think, should I do it? Should I not do it? Is ask yourself, how does it help the world? If it helps the world, if it solves a problem. So if you want to come out with like a t-shirt line that has like diamonds on the collar, no, nobody needs it. Probably not going to, right? If you're right, what is it? Does the world need diamonds on a collar? Probably not. Does the world need an app to organize and so they know what to wear? Do we need this? Do we need a service that you can call at any time to get your hair braided? I need that. Okay. Do you need?
Yeah, you've been talking about that for a minute. You've been talking about.
Shouldn't be that hard. Shouldn't be that hard. Thanks, Glam Squad. What about somebody who knows how to braid hair?
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. This is like the highlight of my day. Like, thank you. It's been a long day too. I was like,
such a pleasure. Such a pleasure.
Like, Sahara's going to be like, I'm excited. This is like, I've been waiting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining me for this week of A Fashion Moment. If you like what you hear, we'd love for you to join our community of listeners and spread the word about the show. We also want to hear from you. Share your favorite fashion moments and dream guests with us by sending an audio clip or email to afashionmomentpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can tag us on Instagram at A Fashion Moment, and you could be featured on next week's episode. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review and let us know what you think. Until then, see you next time for another fashion moment. Podcast production by Rebecca Rashid and John Taylor Williams. Digital media production by Megan Porras.
This recording carries a Creative Commons 4.0 international license. Thanks to Patrick Patricios for their song, Hot Coffee.